Hi everyone, my name is Alex Lepschi. I'm from Austria and we're here today in London filming for Hair Tribe. And the cut I'm gonna like to show you today on our beautiful model May is a 70s inspired kind of mullet shape. The main idea of the cut is that we reduce a lot of the weight around the curvature of the head and around the occipital bone area, leaving a lot of the length in the perimeter and working with a beautiful length to keep and maintain the silhouette around the top area, working at the end with a lot of personalizing, a lot of detailing to bring out the right texture, the right separation and focal areas around the front. Okay, so first of all we start to section off the hair. We're working with 5 sections in total. Being able to start from the crown area, from the right height, and from this place we're going to subdivide from the crown diagonally forward to the top of each ear. And working then a diagonal forward parting from above the curvature of the head, diagonally forward to the mid-recession to really create an area where we can reduce beautifully the weight around the curvature of the head. So okay, and we do exactly the same thing on the other side of the head. We're starting above the curvature of the head and going diagonally forward to the recession area to really separate the top from the underneath area. We carry on at the back area, taking a central profile parting down into the nape area and going then from the occipital area in a curved section down to the top of each ear to separate the nape area from the top of the back of the head, making sure that the height of this section is exactly as you want it. The higher you go, the more weight you leave in the perimeter area. The lower you go, the tighter and the more weight you reduce in the perimeter. So it always depends on the texture of the hair. So make sure that is exactly the height and the right shape of the section that you want to really create the shape afterwards that you're going for. So once you're happy with this curvature section around the occipital bone area, then you only take the connection from that point of the horizontal section we started previously, and then you go diagonally backwards to meet the nape area. Okay. Separated the hair in 5 sections. So as you can see, we started with the radial section from the crown area, diagonally forward to the top of the ear. And from there, from above the curvature of the head, we started and going diagonally forward to the recession area to separate the sides from the top area. We're doing this on both sides of the head. And from there, we're going then with a central profile parting in the back into the nape area, and then from the occipital area with a diagonally forward section in a curved kind of way to really enhance the natural shape of the head to the top of each ear on both sides. And from there, you then meet that point here. We started above the curvature of the head in a diagonally back section into the nape area, and so you get this really beautifully 5 sectioning pattern. So you have the top area, the top of the back of the head, the nape area and the side areas. So we start off now in the nape area in the center. We're taking our center profile section, over directing the hair a little bit upwards to maintain a lot of the weight and length in the perimeter, and reducing a lot of the weight around of the occipital bone area. Make sure that your sections are combed very evenly. And from there I'm working with this reverse graduation. We're working with a deep point cutting technique. When I do deep point cutting, I make sure that the tips of my scissors are going directionally upwards, so that the shortest points of your point cuts are on the top. So what this creates is a lot of texture, a lot of internal texture, and in the same time it creates a seamless effect. Okay, so always make sure that the ends of your scissors, the tips of your scissors, are going upwards with the direction. So this gives you a lot of texture and at the same time a seamless effect. Okay, so when we comb down this, as you can see, we're leaving all of this perimeter length and we're reducing a lot of the weight around of the occipital bone area. Over directing everything upwards, checking your guideline, leaving a lot of the length from the perimeter, and working with this deep point cutting to reduce the weight inside and leave all the perimeter length out. Okay, I'm working with this sectioning pattern through to the sides. And in the corner, as you can see. So what we've done here so far, as you can see, we reduced a lot of the weight around the occipital bone area and we left a lot of the length and texture in the perimeter. So now we're going to do the same sectioning pattern and cutting technique on the opposite side. We're again starting in the center. Over directing the hair upwards into this reverse graduation and going in with the point cutting technique. Make sure that the tips of your scissors are directing upwards so that you create this beautiful texture inside and at the same time the seamless effect. Okay, going through with these parallel sections. And the last section again, here in the corner, we're over directing a lot more upwards to maintain again the weight and the length from the corner of the perimeter. Using the guide from the back to maintain the length from the weight in the corner of the hair. So, okay, so now we finished the back area, and what you can see is that we left all of this perimeter length and we reduced a lot of the weight around the occipital bone area to create this more 70s kind of mullet shape with the beautiful silhouette of the head shape. Okay, with the deep point cutting technique we create two things, and firstly a lot of texture internally in the ends, and at the same time we create a seamless effect, which is really important when you work on this thick kind of hair that my model May has. Okay. As we progress through into the side area, what we are doing is we're working very simple with a block graduation technique. We're starting from the top, creating the internal length that we want and over directing everything upwards to again create a beautiful internal shape, beautiful internal texture, which we're releasing a lot of the weight and leaving all of this perimeter lens fat, okay? The first section you take, over direct parallel to the section. Your first section that you cut, over direct up, parallel to the section. And again work with steep parallel point cutting. And cutting it parallel to the curvature of the head. And from there we're over directing everything upwards to this guideline. And as you can see here, created a lot of internal texture, releasing a lot of the weight around of the curvature of the head and relieving all of the perimeter lens fat. Okay, doing exactly the same on the opposite side. So we're progressing through to the back. We again starting here at the back area. The top, using our center profile guideline. Okay. We work now. You can see when we start our first section, you can see the lens at the back around from the nape area. And what we're going to do, we do not connect this, we will work here disconnected. So we'll go 90 degrees to the head shape, over directing everything, 90 to the head shape, finger position is parallel, and maintain the disconnection through the length around the occipital bone area. Again, working with this deep parallel point cutting. We don't like to reduce a lot of length here around the crown, we like to reduce more the weight. So we're going deeply into the section with the point cutting, and from there we will work through to the sides with parallel sections, work everything straight out and follow our guideline. My model May has really thick hair, and when you work with a lot of hair and thick hair, I really like this deep point cutting, especially when you make sure that the tips of your scissors are directed upwards, not downwards, because again, the tips of your scissors with this deep point cutting are directed upwards. The shorter piece of the point cut you do is on the top. So this creates at the end, when it falls down, first a very nice texture and in the same time a seamless effect. And this really helps when you work on this thick hair, and especially when a girl has a lot of hair and thick hair. It's very versatile. You can also work, if the girl has finer hair, you can work with a blunt cutting technique or not so aggressive point cutting technique. It absolutely depends on you and which result you like to create at the end. So I'm doing exactly the same technique on the other side of the head and progressing through here. So here I'm reaching the end of my section, last piece, over directing everything 90 degrees to the head shape, finger position parallel, and following my guideline. Okay, so now we have the back completed, and now we progress through the last part of the haircut. It's the top area, and what we do here is we work with a beautiful disconnection. We like to maintain a lot of the weight around the perimeter area, but we like to reduce a lot of weight around the curvature in the front of the head. And in the same time, we like to maintain a lot of the length around the crown area so that it blends beautifully into the back. Okay, so the technique is very simple. It's a nice idea behind it, but the technique is really, really simple. So what we are doing is redamp the hair a little bit. Okay, we're taking our first section into the center of the top. Okay, we're starting now into the center, and we're working exactly with this idea. We still have a maze haircut. So as you can see, I have the outline for the fringe inside of here. Exactly this bit I like to leave out. Check really, really carefully that you really leave out exactly that amount of weight, the amount of hair you like to maintain in the outline, in the fringe section. And from there, we're over directing everything 90 degrees to the head shape, and cutting from shorter in the front to longer in the back. So there's not a lot of length coming through here. And with this technique, we're working through to the back. Again, working with the point cutting technique. And as you can see here, we're working from shorter in the front to longer in the back. So this afterwards will blend beautifully with the length in the back. And the shorter pieces here will reduce a lot of the weight around the curvature of the front of the head. Okay, so and with this concept we work now through to the sides with parallel sections, over directing everything to the center, because we like to maintain a lot of the length which is falling over the curvature of the head, so we can again create beautiful silhouette for the head shape in the front area. So again, leaving that amount of hair out that you need and you like for the perimeter length afterwards. Or directing everything to the center, 90 degrees to the head shape, and cut from shorter in the front through to longer in the back. So here I'm here at the last section of my top area, making sure, because we have the hairline, the corner of the hairline, the recession in this area, make sure, being really careful, that you leave out the right amount of length, the right amount of weight for the perimeter area, so that it blends beautifully with the rest of the perimeter. Make sure to create the balance, that's the key for this technique. So and you can still see what's happened with this technique. We have a lot of the length here around the crown area, so it blends beautifully with the back, and we reduced a lot of the weight internally here around the curvature of the head, and at the same time we disconnected the right amount of weight for the perimeter to make a little bit more focal point to create a statement at the end of the day. Okay, what we do now is we dry the overall shape off, and then we start into really detailing and personalizing the overall shape. Okay guys, so we dried the basic shape of the cut off now, and what we're doing now is we're starting with the personalizing. And what's very important is, in this case with the personalizing, my model May has a lot of hair, as I said previously, so the hair is very, very thick. So what I like to do is I like to release a lot more of the density, a lot more of the weight of the shape to create it a little bit more loose, a little bit more flawless. In the same time, I like to really maintain this silhouette of the shape. So I don't want to get a lot of lift into the hair or a lot of texture. It's more about separation and a loosen up kind of texture. But as you said, just to remember, maintaining the silhouette, okay? So for this, we're working with different amounts of techniques. I start here at the top with parallel point cutting. Very important when you work on thick hair and you really like to maintain the overall shape of the haircut, especially when you like to maintain a silhouette of the head shape. Don't go in the classic, as I said, robot mode when you're personalizing. So always take a look. Personalize a few bits, take a look, okay? And make sure that you stop when it's finished, okay? So don't get in the robot mode, always cut a few bits, take another look to create the right texture that you like and still maintain the silhouette of the cut. As you can see here, this is our disconnection from the shorter pieces around the occipital bone area and the longer pieces that come from the top. Really important, maintain this disconnection, don't cut this off when you personalize. When you work downwards with the personalizing, make really sure that you work parallel into the hair shaft and that you still maintain the outline length for the mullet. So as you can see, here is the silhouette, the disconnection from the top, here is the outline, and here in the center, in the middle, is the weight. And this is exactly where we go to remove a little bit more. Make sure to cut parallel into the hair. We don't like to change the shape, we only like to change the weight of the shape. Using a different technique now. So now I'm working with a little bit of channel cutting, exactly in these kind of areas where a little bit too much of the weight is sitting. Always channel in the direction that you like that the hair goes, because always remembering basic cutting, short pushes long. So the shorter pieces where I'm starting with, pushing the longer pieces where I'm going out with my scissors in the direction as you go with your scissors. Okay, now I like to create a little bit more texture, internal texture around the crown area. For this I'm using back cutting, which is quite similar to back combing, you know, to create internal texture, a little bit more, you know, a little bit more kind of modern kind of volume, a back comb effect, but in this case what we use is not the comb, we do exactly the same with the scissors. And again, working very visually to create the desired result. Okay, for the front area, we like to reshape the fringe section. What I really like in this kind of 70s inspiration for my mullet is this beautiful softness here around the cheekbone area. So I really like to maintain this softness. So usually we work a lot in shorter hair, you know, with this face contouring to open the face around the cheekbones. But in this kind of case, I like to create this 70s influence. So I like to really maintain all of this softness. What we like to do is to reshape the fringe area. We like to work it in a little bit more rounded shape and still leave it disconnected to this beautiful softness in the sides. And before I reshape the outline of the fringe, what I'm doing is parallel point cut the internal texture of the fringe to create as much as possible a balance from the weight, and then we reshape with the point cutting technique the outline of the fringe. Placing the hair into my comb and working quite parallel with my scissors to, as you can see, to balance the weight out. Same I'm doing on the other side of the head. When you work with personalizing, with texturizing, for me personally, it's always very important to maintain the shape of the cut and to create a very good and beautiful balance into the texture. So balance is key, and it enables your client or your model to work through with the hands, with the fingers, through to the cut, and it's a lot more versatile at the end of the day. So once you're happy with the weight, as you can see, we now achieve this beautiful balance from the weight, and now I reshape the perimeter of the fringe. Working the outline with point cutting, making sure that the point cutting is very balanced, very evenly, so that you create these beautiful broken up outlines. So there's still an outline there to give the hair a shape, but it's a lot softer and it's a lot more lived in and not so graphic. Work very visually. As I said, I like to maintain the softness here on the sides. So, okay guys, this is my finished look from the 70s inspired mullet. As you can see, we created a beautiful silhouette. We maintained the silhouette inside of the mullet instead of the head shape. So as you can see, we're not going for this anti-head shape, short and really bulky around the occipital bone area. We maintained this beautiful natural head shape that she has. We maintained a lot of the perimeter area to create this beautiful mullet kind of shape. And we reduced a lot of the weight around the occipital bone area and around of the curvature of the head. So this creates a really tight and narrower feeling around of these areas. And in the same time, we worked with a beautiful disconnection here on the top. We maintained on the top area the length here to really blend beautifully into the back of the head. And in the front, we reduced a lot of the weight with this disconnection inside of the curvature of the head in the front. And this creates a really beautiful silhouette when you take a look from the profile, and disconnect it also with the fringe outline to create a little bit more of a feminine statement within of the fringe. And this we created with this beautiful disconnection here around the outline of the fringe and the beautiful softness around the side areas. Okay, lots of personalizing in the end, you know, create the detail, create the final image that you're going for. The technique is very, very versatile. You can, you know, adapt it to your taste. I hope you guys like it. Thank you very much.